Hello, welcome to Nondual Christianity. In this video, we'll talk about sin, the fall of humans. In chapter 2 of Genesis, God gives a command to the man, Adam, saying, "From any tree of the garden you may eat freely, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat from it, you will surely die." And then in chapter 3, we get the account of how the man and the woman actually ate from the tree and were tricked by the serpent and decided to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Starting in verse 4, the serpent said to the woman, "You surely will not die, for God knows that in the day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and the tree was desirable to make one wise, she took from its fruit and ate. And she gave also to her husband with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loin coverings. What I'd like to focus on in this particular video is the tie between the knowledge of good and evil, and then where we end, which is with realization of nakedness, which would be an aspect of shame, I would say. So the command by God is, don't eat from the knowledge of good and evil. And we'll talk in some other episodes about, was this kind of an arbitrary command? Was this somehow inherently connected to the act itself and the implications as far as death, sin entering the world, all these other things? But what I'd like to note in this video is that when the man and the woman thought that they could be more like God, when they believed the story that they were somehow not the divine essence from the non-dual standpoint, right? When they thought that they could obtain something that would make them more divine. Basically, when they thought that they were not already in unity with the divine essence as the divine essence, then they enter into this separation. They start to believe a story, and in the non-dual context, that initial story is that each of us is somehow a separate being from the divine essence. We're separated from that. So we start to believe the story that our name, the voice in our head, is our true identity, instead of our divine essence being our true identity. And as soon as we believe that our specific form is our true identity, then there's the possibility of separation. We start to feel by default that we're not enough, that we're naked, that we need to do something to attain, to maybe get back to unity with God, or to attain something that we have never had. But regardless of what our particular flavor is, it all starts from this mistaken notion that we are separate from the divine, that we're not enough, that something has to be done. And then this knowledge of good and evil is part of that, because as soon as I feel separate from the divine, now I've already allowed the possibility that something could exist that is not divine, right? That I would say would be my definition of evil in this video. So it's not divine, it's not God. And therefore, I would need to protect myself from that. I would need to judge between what is good, what is evil, what is God, what is not God, because I've already stepped into this story that I am not God. Therefore, the possibility exists that many things are not God. And I need to protect myself from the evil things, and I need to try to get to the good things. So this stepping into the story of I am separate from the divine nature, I therefore need to judge good and evil to protect myself, to try to get to the divine nature. We see that all of that starts in the very beginning, and that becomes the default state for all humans ever since that point in time. And then really from that point forward, the shame, the not feeling enough, and then even the fallout of it later in the chapter. God talks about the curses on the woman, the man, the earth. But really what we see is in each of those, it's an acknowledgement that there's been this break or this conflict because humans are now confused. Humans have lost their true identity, and now because of that confusion, the belief in a separate self, they have conflict between themselves, between man and woman, and between humans and the earth around them. And that's really the essence of the fall, is the start of the confusion that we're somehow separate, and then the fallout of that confusion, which is the breakdown of the harmony between relationships. Thank you for exploring this with me today.